Now, let's come back home. The independent panel investigating racism in the Grosvenor Girls High School in Durban has found that a structural problem with blackness exists in the school. The probe came after complaints from black parents that the principal was racist. They claimed he referred to their children as monkeys. The KZN Education Department released the report findings yesterday and is proposing that a provincial commission of inquiry should be held to root out racism in schools. Let's discuss what kind of terms of reference such a commission could have with the MEC for Education in KwaZulu-Natal, Kwazi Mshengu. Good afternoon, MEC. Thank you very much for your time. I mean, just reading that intro to me, it just baffles the mind that we still have islands of such behavior in our country. What else did you find about this girls' high school, the Grosvenor Girls High on the Bluff, just south of Durban?
Afternoon to you and to the viewers. As you say, it's really a bad thing that 28 years into democracy, there will be people who will be entrusted with authority to provide leadership in different institutions of our society, yet they remain racist to the core, as actually it has been found by this independent panel. You will recall that around March, the learners of Grosvenor Girls High boycotted classes citing racial abuses by the principal and some of the educators. We then had to intervene and appointed an independent panel that was led by a senior counsel, Advocate Kuzwayo, to really help us to dig deep into these issues and understand both the allegations of racism as well as financial irregularities, as it were. And the findings are quite damning. It finds that racism in that school is systemic, is entrenched, is structural, and actually white authority dominates in all facets of the school. It also locates the principal and deputy principal at the center of these racial abuses that have been suffered by the learners as well as some of the employees. It also found that the principal and the deputy principal have been engaged in unlawful appointment of certain staff members who are related to both of them without following the processes, but also some of them are without qualifications. There are also issues of financial irregularities that have been found by this report, and it recommends basically that we take further action against the principal as well as the deputy principal.
So what kind of action are you contemplating now, besides calling for a province-wide commission of inquiry to look into racism in all schools in KwaZulu-Natal?
The report recommends that we take disciplinary actions against the principal and the deputy principal. It recommends that we terminate with immediate effect all those that were employed without the process and without qualifications. It recommends that we initiate a process of recovering monies that were paid to these people who were employed against the policy. But also we have decided that we'll lay a complaint against the principal and deputy principal with the Human Rights Commission because we think this is a very heavy matter which requires all authorities in society to present upon it and make sure that we uproot racism from that school and in all areas of society where such is being found. And we have also referred the report to the Premier with the recommendation that a provincial commission of inquiry be appointed to look into racism in schools in KwaZulu-Natal, particularly the so-called former modern C schools, because that's where we keep on getting these allegations. I can tell you that since yesterday, since we released the report yesterday, we are inundated by a number of correspondences citing different incidents of racial abuses in different parts of our schools in KwaZulu-Natal, which actually strengthen our case that the solution now is for the Premier to appoint a commission that will look into these allegations and provide rather a wider platform for quite a number of people to present their cases and help us really to say, how do we make sure that we avoid the recurrences of these incidences in the future?
Okay, just finally, very briefly, MEC, if you may, within less than a minute, when do you think the Premier will respond to your call?
Well, the Premier has acknowledged the report. He's also applying his mind. We do hope that given the seriousness of the issue, it will not take long for the Premier also to address the society about this matter as well as his decision.
Okay, thank you very much. That's KwaZulu-Natal MEC for Education, Kwazi Mshengu here.